Steve Fezic. I'll say it with you. Only back-to-back winner of the Hilton SuperContest. Oh, the haters hate when I say that about you, Stevie. They hate that.
There was only like 20 people in that contest, and it was 150 years ago.
That's right.
I won the South Point back-to-back also. This isn't just the only contest I won back when I was good.
Believe me, if you cured their family of cancer, they would hate you still. Some people just have it in for you.
So I have a moral dilemma.
Yes.
I always get a $10 free play from Circa every week, so I used it, and they pay me double. So I won, and they gave me $20 instead of $10. And of course, I said thank you very much, and it goes right to the valet people. Cool or not cool?
Well, based on the story that just happened to you at the Wynn, maybe not so cool. Would you like to share that story?
Oh, the Wynn's so cool. So I put in a deposit for the Wynn. I love the Wynn Sportsbook. Everyone who works at the Wynn, and I mean everyone, is so nice to me. And I appreciate it. And I put in a deposit, and they gave me free drink tickets, so I get my fruit juice, and the manager comes running over, Steve, you overpaid us by $100, and hands me a black chip. It could easily have just put that in the tip jar, no problem.
Look at the
Wynn.
Wynn.
So then I walk right back and I put it in the tip jar. So I love the Wynn, they like me, and so it's a nice relationship we have.
Okay, but at least you gave it to the valet folk, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
okay. But I like that the Wynn went out of their way to make sure that you got the money back.
Because sometimes I'm critical, Crack and I
Yeah.
and I think we're both pretty unbiased. Like when we're treated right, we give accolades, and it's when they do something wrong, we'll say so.
Yesterday, Crack. Speaking of Crack, he was here, of course, and he was the one who was able to get Terence Watanabe to come on the show yesterday. For those who missed it, Terence lost. Inherited his dad's business, expanded his dad's business, made a fortune. Age 43, decided, I don't have any work-life balance. I'm going to cash out of this business. He had a fortune. And within 7 years, I believe it was within 7 years, all $350 million was gone because he gambled it away in Vegas casinos. I was thinking about you during the interview because unlike me, I was raised by humans. You were raised by robots. So your reaction would have been a little different. I was thinking you would have been like, how can you be so... You were saying this even on text.
I don't want to be like Voldemort Fezic, but like the whole idea, they have this great invention that they came up with. You probably haven't heard of it. Most gamblers haven't. It's called the internet.
Yes.
And given I'm going to gamble for the rest of my life heavily, you would think maybe query, what is a sucker game to play and what is a good game to play in the casino? I mean, you don't have to be a world-class poker player or a blackjack player.
Right.
Just it'll spit out immediately and just play craps.
But as Todd everything you're saying is true. But as Todd Wishnev would very accurately tell you, not everyone's like you, right? Mm-hmm. Not everyone is built the same way and would think of that. They just are compulsive. And I had a lot of sympathy for him, and I was certainly not going to say that to him.
And I think accolades to the man to come on. That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So that takes a lot of credit, for him to do that. I'm torn on the casino side because obviously sympathetic to people that lose all their money. On the casino side, big conflict of interest because here's your cash cow. You're making all this money, and this is not just casinos. This is financial advisors that are charging people like 2.5%. In total annual fees or more, when they're actively trading their accounts, and they're making so much money off the unsuspecting people. And at what point do you need to educate your customer so they stop donking off all their money? It's difficult.
Well, so that's, when Mr. Watanabe left yesterday, Crack and I had a final segment. I did bring this up, which is, listen, none of us are naive here. A casino's function, right? Their modus operandi is to separate people from their money. That is why they exist. This just in. That is why they exist.
That's interesting, if I can interrupt, because I'm going to disagree with you.
Because it didn't used to be that way.
Yes.
Right. Yes. I knew where you were going with this.
100%, because a casino's job is to give you world-class entertainment and excitement and enjoyment, and part of paying for that is lose some money gambling. All right, and that was old school Vegas. All right,
lose some money gambling.
Yes,
right. So this becomes the moral dilemma, right? What we're getting at is, does a casino have a responsibility at some point, listen, I get it. They're trying, the object is for you to lose money in their casino. Do they have some kind of moral responsibility that at some point when they identify someone as a whale that has no idea what they're doing, and in this case, the ultimate example of that, right? $350 million. By the way, that wasn't enough. He went $14 million in debt, and then they sued him for it afterwards. Do they bear any response? Because the other side of this is he's an adult. No one is twisting his arm. No one's got the proverbial gun to his head, right? So where does what's the expression? Where does the rubber meet the road? In Steve Wynn's case, once he had donked off $60 million, Steve Wynn showed mercy. I know Terrence said other things like, "Oh no, he was mad because I was taking out some of his employees," but I don't think so. I think Steve Wynn also was like, "Okay, I've taken enough money from this guy, Terrence. I'm banning you, so you can never come in here again." Whereas Caesars was like, "Hell no, we're taking every penny."
And it's possible Steve Wynn met with his legal team and they said, "Look, we got this liability that's looming." With this guy, and there is a double standard. Nevada Gaming does not allow them to allow drunk people to gamble in the casinos.
Well, they didn't care. They plied him with
one
alcohol.
of the most violated rules ever. But
yes.
The bigger a high roller you are, and I'll say, I'll throw them under the rug. I don't like the M Casino, like the way they do business, and I'm playing there, and there's a guy that's like that. I made a play on the blackjack table he didn't like. And he was like, just deriding me, yelling at me, screaming at me. And the funny thing is, he's the bad player. I'm a much better player. Just laughing. It's like whatever.
Right.
But like if he had that behavior at a normal $10 table, they would just 86 him. They wouldn't allow that. But because he was a big whale loser, they obviously have to put up with that behavior.
Well, and so Kelly we were all texting about this before the show. Kelly makes the point that Kelly made about this, which I think is a good one. Also is. All right, he actually subscribes to what I was saying about, hey man, you're an adult, this is your choice, no one is doing this to you. You have to have that kind of responsibility. His objection was, it's kind of like what you're saying, but in a different way. It was sort of like, okay, but then casinos, like if some random casual gamblers at the craps table, they're on a roll and then like they're not hitting the back wall and you decide just to like ruin her night by saying, sorry ma'am, you can't do this until you hit the back wall, right? Like that's the kind of thing that he objects to. It's like, come on, man.
You have rules for a reason, because there are professional dice setters that can throw the die on axis, backstop the wall, barely bounce if they're able to throw it, and throw doubles more often. All right. But that's why you're paying all the boxman, you're paying the pit boss all this money to identify that versus grandma that's just throwing the bones, and who cares if it only makes it halfway down the table.
Yeah. I guess just going back to Terrence, just wrapping it up. The whole moral dilemma of where does a casino have any responsibility whatsoever? And I guess in a perfect world, we would all like to think. I know, maybe this is completely naive, and I'm not suggesting that I believe this, but I'm saying we would all like to think that in a perfect world, some humanity would come out that like, oh, we've taken 150 of your $350 million. Maybe that's good enough for us. We've taken all, maybe we shouldn't make this man destitute.
And the idea that they would sue him for that after making all that money is like they should immediately be hit with some enormous fine for greediness.
They did get a fine, and it was like a slap on the wrist. It was like $225,000.
But the fact they would sue him for that, just say, hey, we're giving you an additional 15% rebate. You don't owe us nothing. We're done, etc.
Well, they did ultimately drop it, but the fact that they even made him go through that.
Ridiculous. And, I will say I hate the whole responsible gambling. Responsible gambling, the state of Nevada defines responsible gambling as only losing 10% of your paycheck every year. It's like, heaven forbid responsible gambling mean actually learn to play games that have small house edges. And in fact, even on radio shows, right here in VSiN, it's glorified. Someone plays some stupid game and they hit like, a jackpot and they win up 1.5 million. Good job, great job, and like that person is, and it goes back to even Hollywood. Han Solo, right? The odds of navigating an asteroid field are 10,000 to 1. It's like, never tell me the odds, and everyone's like, that's my hero.
That's right, as displayed in Star Wars.
I mean, that's like a buck. The guy who bucks the odds is the guy, and same with Survivor. We don't want the guy taking like the good path. It's the guy that takes the crazy path that's everyone's hero.
What's the obvious Survivor play this week?
Oh, you play Kansas City. everyone, the square sharps, I got to save Kansas City. I might need them for Thanksgiving. I might need them for Christmas. Well, guess what? They're not the optimal play on either week. So I'll save Philly and Washington for those 2 weeks. I'll take my 12-point favorite. It'll get through 86% of the time and sit back and watch the people taking their Steelers too cool for school. Oh,
okay. Well, let me just push back a little. I'm not going to push back, but I'm just going to just sort of give you a guardrail.
Yes.
You admit that you could be wrong, that you shouldn't be this confident in anything with the NFL, right?
Well, 100%. If everyone thought like I did, I'd be completely wrong.
No, that's not an admission. Okay. I'm just saying. You're very, listen, what we appreciate about you is that you're very confident in your opinions, but you do allow for the fact that your opinion might not be 100% correct here, right?
Oh, 100% it could be wrong. Yeah. And the way it would be wrong is if we look and more than half the people take Kansas City. And I'll be the first one to say I'm counting on diversity in the picks. If I don't get diversity, then I am in, like if 65% of people take Kansas City, it's the wrong selection. 100%.
Now, there you go. Couched like that, it sounds much better.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
We get tweets at Beating the Book. This is a question, this is one from Thomas Tinley. Entering into hour 3, Gill is the cleanest in the game. Fezic paints the edges like Greg Maddux. I don't know what any of that means, but thank you. This is from Razorblade. He says, it's called addiction, Steve. That's what he wants to clarify for you.
It's okay to be addicted. You can gamble all the time. Just read all the books, get good at it, and win.
It's not okay to be addicted, but I understand your point. Bentley, LOL, Dr. Bob being undefeated in Illinois reminds me of Mel Brooks in To Be or Not to Be. I'm world famous in Poland. That's a great catch. Matt at Hedging Now. I think the casinos may think this customer may go to another casino to lose the remaining money left. Why not just take as much because the gambler's going to gamble even it's not their casino? That's a valid point.
This is really well documented in the movie Owning Mahoney.
Yes.
Where he goes to Caesars in Vegas. And so he normally gambles in Atlantic City, and they're panicking that he's going to dump all his money off. So they've got spies coming out there trying to drag him out, and he's ahead, and they're like, get him out of there.
Matt makes a very good point. James NTU 89, if you fade Kansas City this week, there are two outcomes. Kansas City wins, you get them at lower ownership later in the year. Casey loses, you knocked out 40% of the field. Your pick has to win, of course, but there's risk every week in Survivor. Play to win, not to live. I'm all about the playing to win. I'm the one who said it's not named correctly. Shouldn't be called Survivor. Misnamed game. And then this one's for you, Stevie. Mike Rouse. Can you talk with Steve about Pritzker's tax returns and his Vegas winning claims? Apolitically speaking, of course. All right, what he's referring to is Illinois Governor. Do y'all see this? Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who, by the way, side note, billionaire. He made, and he put this in his tax returns, he took home $1.4 million in winnings after playing blackjack at a casino in Vegas last year. He's seeking a third term in office, by the way. There's all that. He's still running, but he reported the earnings in his latest tax filing after he played the card game while on vacation with his wife and some friends. Is the casino listed? I guess it's not listed here. But there you go. By the way, his total income, $10.6 million. So that was not an insignificant portion of his total income last year.
Yeah, hard to believe he was able to win $1.4 million without being a good player. But you know what? He could just be a basic strategy player that's betting $10,000 a hand. I talk all the time about this. And in my own results, I'm down like 90 units for my clients this year. And I was up 250 units the 5 years before. So, of course, everyone has postulated that I now have Alzheimer's and the game has passed me by. And I'm a dino because I'm having a bad year. And the truth is, anyone that is an advantage gambler, it's true the game can change, but the variance is tremendous. And I'm going to go on a limb and say this Pritzker probably did win the $1.4 million, and he probably is a losing gambler. And like, you know what? If you're playing games that are close to zero, if he's able to win $1.4 million, there's a card counter with an edge that lost $1.4 million.
Maybe J.B. Pritzker counts cards. I don't know. Maybe he's
probably not, because he would have gotten kicked out. But then again, you know, because he's a high enough profile, he probably like Charles Barkley or someone or Phil Mickelson. He can probably get away with more than the average person.
That's right. They're not going to go up to Governor Pritzker and be like, "Sir, maybe a different game would suit you better." By the way, we lost the tennis match this morning. For those who have VSiN.com/picks for subscribers, we lost the tennis match. We had Jan-Lennard Struff this morning at -110 against Corentin Moutet from France.
Was that men's or women's tennis?
It's men's.
Okay.
Moutet was 5 of 6 on break points. Our guy Struff, 3 of 18
Can you imagine like a red zone?
It's brutal.
It's like your team can't get in the end zone. They've got 10 shots, and the other team's there like
18
twice, and they
break
punch
point
it in
chances.
both times.
It's just brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Okay, you have picks. Let's get to your picks because I know you have other stuff on your mind. But if we don't get to these, we'll forget about them. Let us begin with. Let's start with pro football.
All right, so a little bit of everything. Let's do a side. Let's take the Saints +5 against the Chicago Bears off back-to-back phony 25-24 wins.
Nice.
Your Washington team fumbles away the game.
Mm-hmm.
They won the stats.
Literally. And
Vegas, a bad Las Vegas team, should have beaten the Bears, but they gave away the game. So the Bears with 2 phony wins, and this is new. This is the deep end of the pool for the Bears, who are almost always getting points, and now they're laying 5. Give me the scrappy Saints in a field goal game.
Saints +5, the first one from you. All right, this is a weather game in Cleveland. Miami and Cleveland. How did you choose to play this?
So I'm going to play first half under 18. It's fine to play under 17.5. And it's not just weather, and there's different reports whether it's going to be raining. Is it going to be 22-mile-an-hour winds, 30-mile-an-hour winds, 50-mile-an-hour gusts? We will see. It seems like Cleveland has that every week. I don't know why people live there. The mistake on the lake.
Wow.
However, Roll On Mighty Cuyahoga, Randy Newman, great song they played on Major League to start.
You're from Ohio, too, right?
I'm from Ohio, and of course, I'm from Southern Ohio, and as Sam White once said, we're not from Cleveland here, people.
You don't live in Cleveland.
That's right, because we hate Cleveland. But I think both quarterbacks also. Tua, no arm strength. Alabama, Miami, welcome to Cleveland. And Dylan Gabriel, even when he was at Oregon, once said, I hate playing in this cold weather, in this bad weather. And so, of course, he gets drafted by the Browns. Yeah, good, smart. I think both teams are going to be like, let's give the ball to Judkins. Let's give it to Judkins again. Let's give it to him a third time. Let's punt the ball, and let's give it to A-Chain. Tick, tick, tick. First half under.
First half under 18, Dolphins and Browns. By the way, the Sam White thing, it's hard to even, explain to people who are too young to remember. He had to take the PA system microphone and admonish the home crowd because they were throwing stuff on the field or something.
They're throwing batteries. They're throwing car batteries off the top deck, and it was just crazy. And Sam White once famously said against the Oilers, they hated each other. These rivalries.
Yes.
My favorite quote is 58-7. He kicked a field goal to win 61-7. They asked him, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "I was not confident we could get it in the end zone in time."
I'm trying to think what modern day coach would be the most hilarious. If Dan Campbell got on the mic, or the opposite of Mike McDaniel did, and people were like, "Whatever, nerd." Okay. Speaking of first half bets, you have another first half bet in the San Francisco Atlanta game.
Yeah. So Atlanta, much healthier team against the Niners, and Atlanta's been coming out hot with the ball and with great success, and we saw that against Buffalo. I expect the same. You can play in first quarter, but I didn't want to give it out because it's too much vig. So Atlanta first half plus the half.
All right, Saints plus the points for the game against the Bears, and then Miami, Cleveland first half under 18. Atlanta first half plus the half a point against the Niners in the first half. Okay, so college football. Indiana, coming off the huge win against Oregon, are laying 27 against the Spartans.
So not a good spot, but you know what? The Spartans are not a good team.
Yeah.
And you look at that phony cover they got against USC where they should have lost by 20 plus, and they just got annihilated by UCLA. Well, in the end, it's a little better than UCLA, and even though it's not the bestest of spots, my guys make this game a whole lot higher. I'm going to lay the 27.
Maybe the best game of the week on paper, Ole Miss and Georgia. We had Felica on earlier. He's laying the 7 with Georgia. You've got Ole Miss 7 in the hook here.
Yeah, so Felica's going to push, and I'm going to win because it's going to land right on 7. Never like when the bear is against me, but we make this, and I know there's revenge, but we made this game. When I say we, my guys made this game a lot lower. And Georgia, I did watch the Georgia-Auburn game, and I thought it was a totally phony, fortunate cover. Auburn could easily have won that game. Georgia looks injured to me on offense, and so I think Ole Miss can hang in.
Bob just said that was probably the team amongst the big shot teams that he thinks is the most overrated, Georgia.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to ask you for...
When I say we, Dr. Bob's one of the we's. I aggregate, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
You're aggregating Dr. Bob there a little bit.
One of my guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Are you aggregating Dr. Bob on this one? ODU, a pick versus James Madison?
I believe so. I get all these different projections. I just put little check marks. I've got little highlighters. I've got yellow and green and blue, and I'm like, there's 3 check marks on ODU, man, which is the better team. Versus, I don't think this was a Bob play.
Stay tuned next segment when Steve breaks down the ODU defensive unit. No, I'm kidding.
Both these teams are underrated, but ODU is the better team, and we get them at Pick'em. So absolutely, I'm on ODU.
All right, and then, for folks on this side of the country, this is a big ball game. BYU and Utah, BYU catching 3.5.
Who is Utah to be laying 3.5 in this game? And you'll notice, the savvy people, a whole lot of my picks are on these key numbers, the plus 7.5s and the plus 3.5s, because if you can just bet plus 3.5 and a game closes 3, just that half point of line value is enough to overcome minus 110 vig, and that's why I focus so much on those games, on the key numbers. Yes, BYU plus 3.5.
For people who are like, well, I'm only seeing 7 on Ole Miss, would you advocate a buy to 7.5?
Never, because the greedy casinos used to let you buy for 10 cents, which is about what it's worth, more or less. And then they started charging you 20 cents because they realized the young millennials don't know any better. So absolutely, you'd be better off playing a plus 7 at reduced vig than buying to like plus 7.5 craziness and lay minus 130. Don't do that, and don't play plus 7.5 minus $1.25. When I left this morning, there was plenty of plus 7.5s. I don't know what the market's doing.
We get tweets at Beating the Book. Sam Ginsberg, based on Star Wars reference before, obviously Fezic meant the young Millennium Falcons. Maybe that's what you mixed up there. Fred Leonard's very disappointed to not get a Fezic description of the Pritzker situation by saying, wait, what's this? That's right. You haven't given us a what's this yet today. Here's one. This is the numbers, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. You're making it out to be a Jim Harbaugh guy. He says, great show. Gill, did you know it's been 10 years to the day Jim Harbaugh's UM squad had trouble with the snap? I hear you state your love for Jim almost weekly in the fall. Really? But I'll remind you, he was milquetoast at UM until he started sending staff in disguise to opponent sidelines. You got me mixed up with somebody else. I think Jim Harbaugh is a great coach, but you don't hear about it from me every week. This one, last name Nash. I'm shocked. I'm shocked Fezic hasn't ripped Kelly yet for teasing through 0. All right, let me see if I get this right. Kelly will tell me if I'm wrong in my ear. Kelly's doing 3 team 10-pointers. Yes?
Oh, dear.
And he's, we got an oh dear from Steve already. And he teased one of them through the 0. You don't like that?
If he took a minus 2.5 up to plus 7.5, I'm fine with it. I'm pretty confident Kelly did because he's a sharp bettor.
Well, and Stevie, these things change. Your old school do's, yeses and nos on this stuff, they do evolve.
Hey, I was texting Kelly in Vegas because she was like, she gave the correct answer, the basic strategy answer. Hey, don't play these 10-point, 3-team teasers. They're wrong, ties lose. And she's correct. However, there's an exception to the rule. Like if you just did nothing but play 12.5 point, if there were 3 12.5 point favorites, and you could tease them down to minus 2.5, all 3 of them, it's actually a pretty darn good play.
Elihu Feustel was on the show a few weeks back, and he imparted his wisdom on us and said, hey, look, with these push rate numbers changing, some of these other stuff should be changing.
Elihu's in a little trouble. We have a little wager, and the NFL 3 is not landing like he was hoping. So
you pushed back on his push rates.
There's only been one NFL team favored by approximately 3 that's managed to win by exactly.
I'm sure your small sample size will dictate what will happen moving forward. Steve, you of all people, citing a small sample size. All right, you have a life hack for those who live in you have several hacks. One is you discovered this pathway where you don't have to go on the strip between the Bellagio, Aria, and Cosmo.
Oh, I'm doing my walk, right?
Yeah.
So I walk from Caesar over to Bellagio. Say I'm feeling adventurous, but I dread that walk to the Cosmo where I'm like, it's like this roundabout way on the boulevard, and who knows who you're going to get like approached when you're on the boulevard. What's this? I'm deep in the bowels. I'm thinking about taking the tram over, and there's this magic passageway, a hallway that takes you right on over to Vidara, and you can take a left-hand turn right into Cosmo. I was totally unaware. They don't broadcast or advertise it. They really should because it is a lovely walk versus a walk that's unpleasant at best, and it's unclear. It's like going through the forest of Mirkwood to try to get to the Lonely Mountain.
What's that a reference to?
The Hobbit. It's like this ambiguous path that no one can figure out.
Let's say it was inclement weather, right? Let's say it was. If you wanted to get from the Bellagio to the Aria, you would only have to spend about 100 steps outside. So you could go from Bellagio, instead of turning left, instead of going out the front entrance, you go directly opposite. That will take you on this long path around to the Vidara, which whips around to the Aria. And by the way, there's an offshoot to the Cosmo on that as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well described. And there is a tram, but you got to wait for the tram,
That's
that's
right.
way out of the way, deep in the bowels also.
All right, speaking of life hacks, you're at the gym. What's the best motivator there is at the gym, according to Steve Fezic?
The best motivator is to have time constraints. So if you have all day long, you're going to be lazy and you're checking the internet and everything else. But like this morning, I went to the gym and I'm like, I'm coming on A&G. I got 45 minutes to do chest, arms, legs, shoulders,
Deadlines.
bang, 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 bang. And so every 45 seconds, I'm hitting a machine and I'm going to feel dreadful in about an hour because of it.
Yeah, deadlines, period, in life,
Yes,
right?
deadlines.
Deadlines. We all need deadlines. Okay, a hotel hack.
This is a hotel and restaurant hack. I'm
Oh.
upgrading it. So what you want to do is you can't afford, obviously, to be at the Four Seasons at all times and to eat at the Four Seasons and but you know what? You can pretend to stay there. You can stay at Motel 6 and if you're in Santa Monica and then you go on over to the Miramar Hotel and just hang out. It's so lovely and beautiful there. In Tahoe, you can go ahead and stay at Harrah's, walk over to the Edgewood world-class resort right on Lake Tahoe and just take in the day like you're an Edgewood resident. And the same comes true for restaurants, Gill. You don't have to eat at Delilah's. You don't have to eat at Nobu. You can just hang out at the bars and have a great experience. And I know you've done that before, right?
No, I'm different than you. I believe in enjoying life and not spending all of my energy trying to save 10 cents left and right every second of the day.
But you'll agree that the experience of there's nothing better than being at what's the place next to Jean George that you like?
Carbone.
Carbone. Even just being at the bar and just being at a world-class restaurant or being at Delilah's.
No
at
question.
the Wynn.
But I'm just saying for you, do you think you will ever get to a point in life where you just let all this go and you're like, you know what? I'm just splurging.
All the time, because my wife likes doing that, and I'm good with it. So we'll stay at the Four Seasons, we go on vacation to Hawaii. And the reason being, and it kind of made a lot of sense to me, when I was single and alone and I was staying someplace, I was spending just for one. But the room costs the same for one person or for three people. So when you have kids and you're married, now all of a sudden divide by three the cost, and it's not so onerous.
We were talking earlier with Chris Feliga. I was mentioning that Joe Peta mentioned that the most underrated college campus in the country, picturesque-wise, was the University of Washington. Felica agreed. Kelly said, always been the same for me. It's always been Pepperdine. Your answer is?
Pepperdine. And also what these guys, what they do wrong, they rank all the campuses. So I was looking at some of them, and Northwestern and like Cornell, and a lot of these places get ranked high. And it's completely wrong because you cannot rank high. College is only in session from September until June. All right. So you've got most of it's bad weather. So any northern climate place cannot be in the top 10 because you have to weight it by month. And that's the beauty of a Pepperdine or University of San Diego. It's nice, or Duke. It's got to be nice all year long to be in my top rankings. And that's why I would make Pepperdine number one.
David Newell. I just found out I handicap, quote unquote, college football the same as Steve Fezzik. I bought a set of colored pens at the dollar store and print a copy of the schedule every week. I don't know if he's taking a shot at you. I don't know if he's agreeing. I don't know what his point is there.
I lack the awareness to be able to tell. But I tell you what, the color,
you're taking a shot at Stevie. He has no idea.
Dr. Bob is in green and Big Al is in blue, and I got the bear in yellow, and it's across the board. Yes.
Paul Zhang, come on, gents. The scenery is the greatest motivator. I think that's what we were saying. We were saying the scenery is the greatest motivator. I don't know what Steve was saying. Ryan Thompson, Fezic asks, is that men's or women's tennis? To Gill, I wondered the same thing. LOL. I get that. I get that from everybody who takes.
Gilly won't tell me where it is. It's if you're not going to spend the 2 minutes to find out whether we're in Hong Kong or Tokyo, well then screw you, Fez.
That's right. Take some time and learn something. By the way, which brings us to a conversation Kelly and I were having off air earlier, which is rotation numbers. You famously, and this I will give you one free pass, and that's college basketball season, because there's billions of games. So I get it. When we give out college basketball picks, we should mention the rotation numbers. But you do agree that this is a relic otherwise, right?
No. And I give Dr. Bob a lot of credit. When he releases, he always says, all right, I'm going to be releasing, and the game starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, and it's in rotation, somewhere in the rotation 310 to 320. So now people can look, and they're ready to go. Okay, it's going to be one of these 5 games, And then it's like right angle sports. It's like, set it up, go.
Right.
We're betting it. And like without that, how the heck am I going to find if I'm a full-time bettor, I should know approximately where it is on the rotation.
Okay.
But the average person, it's going to take them a good 2 minutes to find Utah State on a college football Saturday.
I'll even give you college football.
But NFL, you don't need it for NFL
you don't need it for
or
anything
NBA.
else.
NFL or NBA or MLB, you don't need it.
Okay.
However, I will say it prevents mistakes. The doubleheader, all the time. If you have a handicapper that says, take Milwaukee, and they're not explicit that it's game 1 or game 2.
It says something about the handicapper.
They're just too busy. You got to be so clear when there's a doubleheader.
By the way, doubleheaders, do you even go ahead and bet those? I am typically, they're not throwouts for me, but because the lineups become squirrely, it takes a lot for me to bet a game in a doubleheader.
But I do think the people most focused will love doubleheaders because of that squirrely nature that the game 2 can have a skeleton full of closet. What a skeleton in the closet. Nobody's playing game 2 sometimes, and they can take advantage.
Mikey P, getting a lift in before a VSiN appearance. Are you sure that you have Fezzik in there and not Michael Montesano in studio?
That guy is a monster. He can bench press a Chevy.
Oh, man.
And he's a really good handicapper, too. How does he find the time?
He's great. He's great. He there's not a futures bet he doesn't consider, though. Man, he's all over the place with the futures bets.
I've changed my tune. I used to be like negative on futures, and now it's like so clear to me. Like, and it's just the variation. Like,
he's great.
What's
at it,
this?
Man.
You got one guy's 80 to 1 to win the Heisman, and another joint it's 20 to 1.
Is Cade Horton? I think he has a ridiculous numbers. He's waiting for another one to catch.
How about that Billy Bob Cooter guy that Will Hill has at like 10 zillion to 1?
Billy Bob. That'd be Jim Bob, but I understand your point.
Same thing.
Steve Fezic, everybody at Fezic Sports. Follow at your own peril.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description